Hello, everybody. Welcome to my Walking Dead Season 8 finale, Episode 16 review. Finale episode is titled Wrath. Now, personally, I would have preferred All Out War to be somewhere in one of the titles to one of the episodes of Season 8, either the first one or the finale. But I like what they did with this season. Episode 1, the premiere, is titled Mercy. Episode 16, the finale, is titled Wrath. Mercy prevailed over Wrath. I realized that before when I was making up my review, and I gotta say, I like that. I like the direction they went with it. I think it's really cool. It really has a sense of wrapping everything up. It's sort of, this is it. There's closure on the season. There's closure on really the first 8 seasons. The Walking Dead is now sort of, after this episode, is hitting a reset button and entering, for lack of better terms, a rebuild mode. Like, I can compare it to a sports team going into a rebuilding year. That's really what The Walking Dead is going to be doing. They're rebuilding. They're starting from scratch, basically. The communities have all come together. Yes, the saviors too. They're still the saviors. They're still at the sanctuary, but under new leadership, which I think I know who is in charge at this point from what we've seen so far. I will get into that in the review, but I like it. It sort of capped off the first 8 seasons of the show, and now the show's completely reinvented itself going forward, season 9 and beyond. That's what the producers have said, that this is basically like hitting the reset button. So I will be getting into it. Will be my final video about The Walking Dead until season 9 returns in October. I might do a video reviewing the Comic-Con trailer when that comes out in July, because at that point we might still have Fear going on at that point, though. Fear just started, which I thought was really good, but I'm going to save that for another time. For right now, I just want to focus on The Walking Dead, and then I'll leave this video off with Morgan heading over to Fear and my discussion thoughts on that. But Fear should still be Fear started now. It should be wrapping up. It should be done before July, depending on if they take a break in the middle of the season like The Walking Dead does. I think they will. I believe they did it last season, or season 2. I think it was season 3. Yeah, I think it was season 3. I could be wrong. They could have done it in both 2 and 3, but for some reason I don't remember as much about Fear as I do about Walking Dead, but I did particularly enjoy the most recent season of it, season 3. I'm looking forward to seeing what Morgan brings to season 4, as well as this new character, John, who I thought was a great character, old Western type cowboy character, so I'm looking for big things from him, as well as Maggie Grace, whom I did not know was going to be in Fear up until that episode aired, so that was great. I know she was in Lost. Feel free to rank on me for this, but I still have not seen any episodes of Lost. Lost was kind of lost on me. Not intentionally, just haven't gotten around to watching it. But she was also in the Taken movies, not the TV show, the movies. So that was pretty cool. So, random Fear the Walking Dead rant over. I'm going to get right into my last Walking Dead review until October. So, this episode was titled Wrath. I felt it was a very good finale. Not necessarily my favorite finale, but because I'm a huge fan of comic books, I was very satisfied with this finale. Now, I am forewarning everybody, I will be discussing comics, I will be discussing potential future storylines a little bit at the end of the video. So, just giving you that warning now. But for now, let's just dive right into what happened in the TV show. No comic book connection at this point. So this episode, this is it. This is the end of All Out War. This is the end of basically a 2-season story arc. You know, All Out War didn't really begin in season 7. It did, but more so in the back half. The first half of season 7 was more like the Something to Fear story arc for those of you who know the comics. But All Out War starts more towards the middle point of season 7 and goes right through to season 8 finale. So it's about 24-ish episodes, roughly. So it's a season and a half, at least, of All Out War. But I felt satisfied with it. I personally felt it was a great finale. It wrapped everything up nicely, heading into season 9, so I enjoyed it. So, I'm going to be jumping around. Some things are going to be a little bit out of order, but I tried my best to get it completely chronological. I watched some clips earlier to refresh my memory, sort of, get a second look at some key scenes, but overall, very pleasing finale. So, getting right to it because we have a lot to discuss. All the work concludes, we got that down. Rick's flashbacks. I really enjoyed those. Flashbacks with young Carl, obviously played by a different kid. It's obviously not Chandler. But, it was done very well. Rick in his old sheriff's outfit again. Rick putting the hat on Carl didn't really fit. That was not a very nice moment because in the previous episode, Rick finally read Carl's letter to him, which talked about those exact walks. And now this is Rick metaphorically writing a letter back to Carl saying, I remember those walks, and stuff like that. And he finally really has a conversation with Siddiq about how it really happened. Because I feel like this whole time, he wasn't necessarily blaming Siddiq, I don't think. He's associated Siddiq with the death of Carl. I never blamed Siddiq. I never said it was his fault. Some people probably did, but look, Siddiq was out there minding his own business. Carl came along and decided to help. Now, yeah, Siddiq could have said, look, this isn't a good idea. We should probably just leave, or something along those lines. But he didn't, and Carl ended up getting bit. But Siddiq didn't do anything to cause his death. Carl's own actions caused his death. Okay, so Siddiq tells him, Rick thanks him. There's a semblance of closure there. I think Rick trusts Siddiq as a member of the group now. And this episode was all about, in the end, it was all about choice. Many characters are given the choice of life or death in this episode, and for the most part, when given that choice, they've chosen life, with the clear, pun intended, exception of Morgan, who just, in the beginning, all stabby stabby, cutty cutty, but we see an evolution in his character in this episode back to where he was when he was with Eastman. Where he went from the clear mindset to all life is precious. That was that transition period to where we see him in the end of season 5, season 6, really into season 7. He's all about all life is precious. Precious. My precious. But it's not really until the death of Benjamin, as a result of Richard's actions, that he really, that's the cause of him kind of snapping a little bit. Not completely, but enough to want to just kill all the saviors. Or start down that road, basically. Speaking of which, Morgan loses it, and he thinks, the saviors are going to come, they're going to, I have to get rid of them, I have to clear, pretty much. He winds up knocking Henry down to the ground. And meanwhile, it was just the saviors just luring walkers away from the hilltop so that Rick and company can move out. That's all that was. Ezekiel and Jerry having a little conversation about loss and this being it. Jerry's affirming we're not losing anything. There's nothing bad's going to happen today. Ezekiel didn't seem super sure, but Jerry seemed very sure as he's sharpening his battle axe and getting ready for a fight. So they roll out. Rick and Michonne are holding hands. Roll intro credits. Okay, they're taking out the roadblock saviors as Negan is sort of laying out his plan to Gabriel, talking about that those saviors were basically just sent to slaughter, pretty much. Unbeknownst to them, they thought, hey, look, we're here carrying out the plan, and then boom, we're just basically sacrificed to, in order to get Rick to fall into a trap. Which they do, it works out, but they sensed that there was something wrong, that it was too easy, and that it might be a trap, but they go anyway. More on Morgan, he sees Jared. Jared looks pretty good. As of course Morgan is seeing them in the way they were before, after they were killed. Very similar to when Tyrese was hallucinating Beth with a gunshot wound in her head. Lizzie and Mika, same thing. It was very similar to that. Anyway, he sees Jared. Jesus notices, and Jesus kind of takes it upon himself to help him out. Jesus helps him, sort of find his way, and says, you know what, pointy end for the dead, not pointy end for the living, and Morgan follows that little compromise, and with a little prompting during the fight, he does knock out his savior as opposed to killing him. So, props to you, Morgan. You're not fully. He seems to think he's too far gone, but I don't think he is completely. He's not back to that clear mantra yet. Not completely. So Negan tests out the bullets. I discussed that last week in my predictions. Gabriel jumps out, but is captured again. And, I knew he wasn't going to get killed there because I know Negan holds him at gunpoint at, you know, at some point from seeing the promo and everything. So Negan does hit him in the gut with Lucille, but fortunately for Eugene and his plan, that no bullets were fired because that all would have been found out and it would have been a mess, and we would have lost people. And yes, this was a very weird finale in the sense that we didn't lose anybody from our survivor group, team, family, and all that. The only major person we lost from this episode, or from any side, was Regina. She was killed by Rosita to save Eugene. So it was a different field, certainly in the fact that we didn't lose. There wasn't a big character death like with Sasha or Herschel or anything of that nature. Okay, so we see that before they fight the Saviors, we see that this mega herd. I have theories on that later on. I'll get into it. But nobody's seen that bigger herd before. Negan has Rick trapped, ready to open fire and kill everybody, including Gabriel. And Eugene made bad bullets that backfired and basically killed all the Saviors, took them all out, messed Negan's hand up pretty good. And they fight, they're taking out some Saviors. Michonne has a nice move, Jesus is in there. Morgan doesn't kill a Savior. Dwight and Gabriel both attack Negan, but he does manage to get away. Rosita, I mentioned, saves Eugene's life from Regina after she figures out that it was his fault. Gabriel also saved Eugene from Negan when he punched him. Okay, we have Rick versus Negan Part 2. They're fighting hand to hand. Rick, of course, misses all his shots again. Runs out of ammo. They're fighting. Rick sort of goes into the mode of honoring Carl. He has this mode of like, pleading with Negan, give me 10 seconds for Carl. We can have a future. It doesn't have to be a fight. We can live together, basically. And Negan pauses for a moment. He lets his guard down, he pauses. Rick just cuts him. And there's a moment where Negan, after Rick cuts him, Negan, like, look what you did. Carl didn't know anything, basically. And I think that moment really registers with Rick, and I think that's the reason why Rick lets Negan live. So Rick lets Negan live. He asks Siddiq to patch him up, save him. Maggie's distraught. She's upset. And Rick spares any Saviors that agree to live in peace and work towards a better future. This is life, that's death, the whole showing the herd. Negan's alive, but his ways of doing things are done. Oceanside to the rescue. As people at the hilltop escape. Aiden stays behind with Tara to try and slow the Saviors down. We have the Savior's surrender. Laura actually initiates the surrender. I initially thought that was a trap, but hey, glad it wasn't. So she figures to be the leader of the Saviors at this point. Looking at that scene at the end, Eugene is redeemed. Rosita punches him as revenge for puking on her. Okay, and then we see Jadis. I'm bouncing around here. We see Jadis. Morgan goes to get her and says, "No, you can go back. You know, Drake's trying to work towards the future. You shouldn't be alone." And she reveals that her name is Anne. So her name is not Jadis. Her name is Anne. So it's nice to see. I thought she was going to be somewhat involved in the fight, but it's nice to see her that she's going to be with our group, presumably at Alexandria with Rick and them. That's nice. I do want to see more of her character. I really felt that there was more to her, more to be seen, and that she's not a one-dimensional character. It's very nice to see that. I mean, it never appeared that she was one-dimensional. I mean, I always knew there was more, but... And then Morgan basically takes her place and stays at the junkyard and is growing eggplants. Rick and Michonne confront Negan. He's handcuffed to the bed, really can't talk, wound. Rick and Michonne say, "Oh, you're gonna have a part in all this," which your part is gonna be to be an example by rotting in a cell, pretty much. Which brings me to my next point. Maggie is extremely upset about this, and she's almost leading a revolt with Jesus and Daryl. More Daryl, Jesus is more just going along with her. Because remember, Jesus is on the side of sparing people. You know, they got rid of Negan while working towards a future. You know, you defeat Negan without having to kill him. And he gets to rot in a cell. So, I mean, he's not as dead set on taking out Negan as Daryl and Maggie are. And to be fair, I might love the way it is in the comics, which is how it happened. I completely understand Maggie's perspective, and I understand that she's upset and wants him dead because he took Glenn from her. Daryl feels a sense of responsibility for that because he indirectly caused it. Yeah, she feels Rick isn't doing enough to honor Glenn, who stuck his neck out to save Rick in the very first, going into the second episode of the series. So there's that. I mean, that's gonna obviously come up. I don't think anything's gonna come from it, but we'll see how they want to handle that and what direction they want to go in. Now we have Aiden, who wants to stay at the hilltop and help build toward the future. He was reading the Key to the Future book that, I was... Georgie. Her name slipped my mind, I just got it back. And Georgie gave to them, and he wants to help. He says he can build things, and he wants to. He doesn't want to go back to the sanctuary. Everybody else who was with them probably will. But I think he wants to go and stay at the hilltop. Dwight finds a note from Sherry saying honeymoon. Daryl lets him go instead of killing him, which I thought was nice. I wish they had let him stay, but I don't think this is the last we'll see of him. I think Laura is the leader of the Saviors now. Tyra's talking to her about happy to be there, they're rebuilding, have glass, and people to help put everything back together. Okay, comic book spoilers. For those of you who want to hear it, I believe that Mega Herd was a tease of for the Whisperers. I believe that was the Whisperers Herd, which is the next antagonistic group, as you know if you've read the comics. So I'm excited to see them hopefully in season 9. There's a theory going around that Sherry could be the leader. I don't think so. I think it's going to be somebody completely different is going to play Alpha. Someone who's going to play Beta, who's Alpha's number 2, naturally. But I believe that Herd was a tease of the Whisperers that we'll see come into the picture in season 9. Probably a nice little tease in the trailer at Comic-Con. So I think that's that. Yeah, I love how they followed the comics with Rick not killing Negan, putting him in a cell. Can't wait to see what they do with his look, if they copy the comics at all. But I love the twist with Eugene's bullets going wrong. I knew something was going to happen with the bullets. I thought it was going to be an accidental thing, like a few bullets. You know, he missed some that Gabriel made or something, or his bullets just didn't work, and he honestly tried to make real ones and they failed. But it's nice to know that he, you know, after seeing Gabriel make the fake bullets and what Rosita said to him about doing something with his pathetic life, he had a nice change of heart. I like that. Okay, Walker kill of the week is going to be Laura's kill. That's the only real one we've got. I will do separate ones for Fear, separate reviews for Fear, as well as a prediction video. But I love this episode, and I have a lot I want to say, but it's kind of running short on time here. So I will discuss more about this in my Fear review, but that's going to do it for this video. But before I go, top 5 moments would be the possible Whisperers tease, Dwight finding a note from Sherry, and Daryl letting him go. Is that it? Is that right? Yeah. 4, Rick's flashbacks with Carl. 3, Oceanside to the rescue with Aaron. I knew that was coming at a crucial moment. 2, Eugene's bullets backfiring on the Saviors. And 1, Rick sparing Negan and letting him live after cutting him. So, great finale, great wrap up to the first 8 seasons. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going to give this finale a 10 out of 10. I've thoroughly enjoyed this entire season. And I'd give this season a 10 out of 10 as well. Most of it was, it was net positive. But I'll cover a little bit more about this episode in the Fear review, because we are crossing over with Morgan, so I will cover a little bit more in depth. But if you want a more in-depth video about potential Whisperers, potential future of the show, let me know. I would love to do some more videos for you guys, mix in with my Fear videos. And there's a good chance I will do something in regards to a trailer reaction. I have not done that yet, but I might do that for season 9 and onward, assuming there are more than 9 seasons. I'm thinking there will be. But that's going to be it for this video. Hope everybody enjoyed the finale as much as I did. Kind of wish I could have seen it in theaters, but did not pan out that way. But hope you all enjoyed it. whether you saw it at home or at theaters. But enjoy. Keep a lookout for my Fear videos coming up later on in the week. Next few days, hopefully. And see you, everybody. Deuces.